I just want to say a couple of things to enable you to deal with the inevitable unknowns that come with dating. Now, I've seen quite a few YouTube videos out there on the lines of, how to tell on the first date if someone's looking for commitment. Now, I kind of feel like, first of all, again, we're failing that test there of we're immediately looking for commitment rather than compatibility. And you have to establish compatibility before commitment is even a question for you. Dealing with the unknown of who knows what this relationship is going to be. Is it going to be a friendship? Is it going to be a passionate short-term relationship? Is it going to be something long-lasting? In fact, when we just go, actually, I don't even really know who this person is, I need to spend more time getting to know them, that's not a very satisfactory answer. So what we instead tend to do is reflect on the limited time we've spent with the person, maybe scroll a bit through their social media account and come to a conclusion about who they are as a person. We want to kind of complete our incomplete image of them by kind of idealizing them in our minds. And of course, the problem is, as we go through the relationship, generally speaking, that image that we have of them isn't necessarily going to neatly line up with how they behave towards you in real life and in the real world, which is where we live and where I want your relationships to be doing great. So to do this, instead of trying to overanalyze things at the start, it's just to go, you know what, I'm actually a little bit in the unknown, and that's okay. Like, I can't possibly know what this person is all about and what they might be looking for because we've just met. So what can you do if you're really overly focusing on them and maybe, it's been a couple of days and they haven't sent you a message back? My first line of defense here is getting used to engaging with your phone less. So that can mean instead of looking at their phone, hoping and waiting that they might message you, I would advise honestly having some lo-fi time. Put your phone onto airplane mode or switch it off, leave it in another room and go and do something so you can actually connect to yourself more. This could be reading a book, it could be doing some cooking, it could be doing some art, it could be hanging out in person with a friend or someone that you really like. All of these things help to reconnect you to the present and help you to not be tempted to try to solve that uncertainty with over-analyzing someone's messages or kind of looking them up on Google. That's not going to help. The second thing I want you to do is to come from a space of giving trust. Now, this can be challenging, especially if you've had times in the past where your trust has been misplaced. However, it's good to go back to the idea that actually most people want the same things and most people are actually, generally trying to do the right thing by other people. I know it can be challenging to give that trust. However, I want you to try because it's been shown through studies that actually in relationships where you believe the best in the person that you're dating and you do give that trust, they generally do better. Now, that's not to say that you are ignorant and you ignore the fact they haven't been in touch for a week or they've been totally inconsistent. But I think sometimes when we try to control the other person or some of our behaviors try to kind of catch the other person out or figure things out about them, all that really ends up happening is we end up getting way more emotionally involved and invested when in fact they're just happily carrying on and living their life. So to keep your emotional investment in them on an even keel and reflective of where you're at in the relationship, I'd advise instead just to give trust and dare I say it, go with the flow, especially over the first couple of months. The third thing that I want to bring up is also about the importance of pacing that relationship. So by pacing the relationship, I mean that you're not kind of jumping in with 2 feet. Instead, you're trying to take things a little bit more at a calm and relaxed pace. Sometimes if we allow ourselves to kind of suddenly cancel on our friends and start ditching that fitness class, we might be letting go of the pillars in our lives that are really giving us a lot of stability and are really propping up our self-esteem. And if we immediately collapse all our boundaries when someone attractive comes along, we're not also really demonstrating that we want to have relationships that are built on a respect for our time, or built on trust, and built on a real sense of connection between the two of you. No one who is a kind of a reasonable person who's open to a relationship is going to be particularly put off by not immediately seeing you all the time. So just to protect yourself a little bit against getting too carried away with a fantasy and keeping yourself really, really grounded in reality, I would advise taking the pace of that relationship a bit more slowly.